Students, Bogu says good morning. I am also saying good morning. Online students, am I audible, students? Right, students, thank you. Now I'll move to the further. Today, I would like to start with another topic which we are going to enter. Marshall. So I'm fine, Marshall. You're asking, how are you, sir? So I'm fine, Marshall. So how are you, Marshall? Are you reading my Python notes? Marshall, Nagaraju, sir, we are not get university related notes, yesterday's notes. Is it? Did not get the notes? I did not post. How come it is? Okay, fine. So Marshall, yes, sir, I got a path to look up and I am also fine, sir. Okay. Okay, students. What is my topic yesterday? No? Polymorphism related. Polymorphism, I posted, na, everything. Polymorphism example 11 now. So I hope 11 was also there. So anyhow, I will look into that. Then only. This one, huh? Hmm? Number, probably. Here 10 only will be there. After example 2. Okay, this one. Okay, fine. Okay, it is missing from that. Okay. So any of students, yes, I'll post it with today's example separately. Okay. So now I'll move to the another topic. Come in. Multi-threading. Multi-threading in Python. Multi-threading in Python we are going to talk. So as on today, this is not asking in interviews, but still I want to complete it. Because when you go to the biggest companies, they will ask this concept students. Why this is not asking? Because all technologies which are coming in the industry is coming with a multi-threading only inside by default present. So people are not writing their own thread-based things. That is the point. Okay, anyhow, let me start with so purpose of multi-threading. Purpose of multi-threading we are going to discuss. And next we are talking about definition of thread. Definition of thread. Then need of creating a thread. Need of creating a thread. And before that, I'll write it. Types of applications. Types of applications. There I'm going to write it. Process-based application. Process-based applications. process-based applications, and B is thread-based applications. Thread-based applications. Okay. Then I will go for module name. Module name required for developing thread-based applications. Module name required for developing thread-based applications. That module name is threading. Threading. So you have seen so many modules so far. Next, we are talking about functions in threading module. Threading module. We'll discuss. Followed by programming examples. Right. Creating multiple threads. Creating multiple threads. Creating multiple threads. So programming examples, of course, as a part of that, I don't want to go for next. This part only I want to take. Creating multiple threads. There I'll go for the programming examples. Next, I'll go for the next level. Deadlock, deadlock occurrence, and deadlock elimination by synchronization, synchronization technique, synchronization technique, synchronization technique for avoiding deadlocks, deadlock occurrence, for avoiding deadlock occurrence with a lock class. You can write implementation of lock class, implementation of lock class, implementation of lock class, and next followed by programming examples. This is a multi-threading index. Now we will start. Easy, students, and a little tricky, little difficult. So if you already read the notes and if you followed well, this is not going to be a much difficult for you. So today we will discuss about the concept based here. Concept based we will discuss what is the need of multi-threading, why multi-threading and all. Students, online students, shall we start now? Quick response is required. Shall we start now? Good. So let us move to the further. Let us move to the further. What is the need of entering into the multi-threading? Fine. Now, students, I will take one example first. Do you know OS? Do you know what OS? What is OS? Come on. What is OS? What is OS? You know already. Don't know? Tell me. OS is, if you tell like this slowly, it's no problem. You have to tell loudly so that I can done. Nagaraju, very good student. Really felt very happy. It acts as it is one of the system software. It acts as a resource allocation and a deallocation manager. First Nagaraju said, next after that. So Diksha said resource allocation and deallocation manager. Ranjan Patra, good. OS is one of the system software which acts as a resource allocation manager as well as resource deallocation manager. So it acts as an interface between what? Program and computer hardware. Already said now. Then why you are not saying? Legia, Legia, Legia. Don't know. Forget. Then why are you not saying? You practice, I said. So coming to the point of it, Kuchmo is a software which starts first on computer and acts as a resource allocation and deallocation manager. Very good. So meaning good. Now let us go to the further. Okay. So you understood it acts as a resource allocation manager. So the OS which I'm having in my system is This is my PC, students. This is my laptop. So this is my laptop. Carefully try to follow. Actually, this, if you catch this example, it is going to be much easier for you to understand the threading. Here only you need to get half of the information about the threading. This is my OS. This, this is my OS, and I'm writing some boxes here. Try to just monitor it. Just to try to monitor it. So here I'm going to take up. Here I'm going to take up some sort of things here. So try to follow me. And here I'm taking, this is called OS. This I'm writing OS. Windows 11 I'm having. This is my existing OS. Do you know, students, as a part of my laptop, OS is ready. Here I open Edit Plus. I open Edit Plus. Next I opened here Python command prompt. I opened it. Python command prompt. I opened it. Python command prompt. I opened it. Next, at the same time, I opened it. Python ideally, I opened it. Python ideally, I opened Python ideally. So here I'm writing ideally shell. Ideally shell I'm opening. Shell open. Next, I opened, Oracle database. I opened it. Oracle database. I opened it. Next, student, I opened it. MySQL. I opened it here. MySQL opened. Here I opened browser. Browser I opened it. Here I opened it. One more thing, Paint. Paint I opened it. Next here I opened it. PyCharm I opened. PyCharm. So these are all called what? What are these called? Browser, Paint, PyCharm, Oracle. These are all called what? Tell me. These are all called apps which I opened in my system, right? Fine. So who need to provide the services to my all apps? Who need to provide the services to all apps? OS only, no? OS only. So students, I'm going to take up the OS is providing the services to all sorts of OSs. Take care, students. So Windows OS is providing service to the MySQL. It is providing the services. At the same time, that is the most important. At the same time, providing the services to what also? Edit Plus also. It provides the services to Edit Plus also. At the same time, it will provide the services to Python command prompt also. At the same time, providing the services to Windows ideally shell also. That means what are all the apps you opened it? For all the apps, Windows OS will provide the services. Windows OS will provide the services. Finally, my conclusion is very simple. If any type of application providing the services parallelly, that type of environment is known as what? Multitasking OS we can call. Spell out multitasking OS. First beginning introduction is important. Where generally most of the people never understand multi-threading. That's why people can't explain multi-threading in Python and all. So, which I am explaining means it is useful to you, right? Carefully try to understand. So this Windows 11 is providing the services to all sorts of apps which I opened it. Definitely the Windows 11 is known as which type of operating system? Multitasking operating system. So tell me, Windows 11 here, Windows 11 here, Windows 11 is one of the, come on, multitasking operating system. Multitasking operating system. What do you mean by multitasking? Once again, you tell me in your own words. The Windows 11 is providing services to all my softwares, all my apps parallelly, simultaneously, at the same time. We call it as a concurrent execution. We can also call it as a multitasking. If any kind of OS provides the tasks, if any type of OS provides the tasks simultaneously or parallelly or concurrently, we call such a type of application is multitasking OS. That multitasking OS bring into the languages on the name of what? Multi-threading. So in operating system, they are known as what? Multitasking. In OS level, in language level, it is known as what? Multi-threading. Are you able to follow me? So what is multitasking? Once again, purpose. Windows 95 you take it, which you don't know. Windows 95. When we were the students, where the first GUI operating system came. So Windows 11 was what? Windows 95 is what? Not a multitasking operating system. When you open an app, that application only it is going to provide the that application only will provide the operation. For other application, it will not be provided. But here Windows 11 and all those things is doing what? Once if I am doing any sort of operation on MySQL, if you keep it downloading will continue. Plus, I can do my own operations also. Are you able to follow me? That is known as what? Multitasking. So what is the use of multitasking? If I do the operation one by one, we call it as a sequential execution. One by one execution is called sequential execution. All at once is known as what? Multitasking OS. And in the language, if I bring it, this multitasking, if I bring into the languages, we call it as which type of topic? Multi-threading. So because of multitasking, things will become faster. Things will become executing faster. Because of sequential execution, things will become execute faster. Because of multitasking, your tasks will complete so early, right or not? Same thing. It bring into which language, which things? Languages. It becomes what? Multi-threading. Take your mobile apps you take it. Take your banking ATMs, any sort of internet application you take it. It is called multi-threaded application only. Every technology is containing the concept of what? Multi-threading. So what is thread? I'm going to define if you carefully follow me. So I'm going to take students. Here I'm going to give you one small example here. Windows 11 is providing the task for what? All these kind of OSs. Windows 11 is providing the task for Edit Plus. The arrow which is pointing to this Edit Plus is called what? One flow of control created by Windows 11 to provide the services to Windows Edit Plus. That type of line of thing which I draw diagrammatically is called flow of control. Spell out the word first. Flow of control. What do you mean by flow of control? When I'm going to provide the services to Edit Plus from Windows 11, one concentration will be kept on that. That concentration is known as what? Flow of control. As a student, you are listening me. So you one concentration you kept on my explanation. That concentration is called what? Flow of control. In multi-threading, the flow of control is known as thread. The flow of control is called thread. So what is the definition of thread? A flow of control is called a thread. Come on, you try to spell out. First understand the terminology. What is the flow of control? Thread. What is the definition of thread? A flow of control is called thread. All the students need to listen carefully. After my explanation, you will understand. Okay. All the students, including Ranjan Patra, first try to let me show you the subject. After that, you will come to that. Okay. Beginning, if you say microservices, data, this, all these things completely blunder. You go keep it out of it. Listen the class. Now I will go to Python command prompt. I'm going to take it. Python command prompt also we are getting one flow of control here. That is also called a thread. For ideally also one more thread. These are all applications are going to be providing the services by what? Threads. So in my programming point of view, this MySQL is known as what? One flow of control is created, which is known as what? Thread 1 is created. Thread 1 is created. How to create the thread? What is the need of creating the thread? You are understanding. This is called thread 2. This is called thread 3. Thread 3. This is called thread 4. This is called thread 4. This is called thread 5. This is called thread 5. This is called thread 6. Thread 6. This is called thread 7. Thread 7. Next thread is 8. So how many threads are there in Windows OS at that point of time? 8 flow of controls are there. Those 8 flow of controls are called what? Threads. What is the thread definition? Once again, tell me. Flow of control is known as what? If my program contains multiple flow of controls, my program is called a normal program or multi-threaded program. Yes, any program is capable of doing multiple operations at the same time. That program is called multi-threaded program. That program I want to develop. That program I want to develop. So when I want to develop multi-threaded program to do the multiple operations, definitely I need to create multiple threads or not. Good. So what is the need of creating a thread? Tell me if you are really follow me. Each thread when I am creating, it is doing some operation or not? It is doing some operation. Let me take one more example now. One more example I will give you. Actually, it is a very simple when you catch the points. Suppose you take I will tell you your example. When you are in the class, when you are in the class, you try to follow me carefully. When you are in the class, what are you doing now? When you are in the class, what are you doing? Tell me. First of all, number one, you are doing what? Listening the class. So first thing you are doing what? Listening. So you are going to listening. So you are going to listen. You are listening my class. Next, what are you doing now? After that, what are you doing? You are responding. Some of them are responding. Are you following me? So is listening and responding one by one, all at once? Hmm, all at once. Listening parallelly, you are responding also. At the same time, you are going to do what? Moving your head also, moving your head also. Without knowing your head is moving, correspondingly, what you are talking, rhythm is moving. That means moving the head, one flow is created internally. Listening is one flow created. Responding, one more flow is created. That means in your brain, how many flow of controls are there? 3 flow of controls are there. At the same time, you are taking breath also, right or not? You are taking breath also, breathe also continued. That is also going to be continued parallelly or one by one? Parallelly. At the same time, you are going to do what? Thinking. You are thinking. You are thinking what to. You are thinking what I am explaining. You are thinking and you are understanding what I am explaining. A general example I am giving it, students. And at the same time, you are seeing on the screen. You are seeing on the screen. On the screen, you are seeing. So these are all called what? These are all called what here? Different type of flows are created in your brain. If you carefully follow, students, here a separate flow is created for listening, a separate flow is created for responding, and this kind of things, all of them are there in your brain. Hence, this is, if I write it as a Python program, each flow is called a thread. This thread is created by me for performing the operation called what? Listening. This flow is created for responding in the class. This flow is created for moving the head, taking the breath, understanding thread, and seeing the screen thread. And these are all called what here? Functions or methods. Functions or methods. So students, why I am creating thread? How many functions I am having here? I am having, for example, 6 functions are there. Or I am having 60 functions are there. Generally, so far, how the functions are executing one after the other. In the main program I am writing, it will go to the function definition. It will come back. One by one, the functions are executing so far. That type of thing is going to give you what? One by one, these things are executed so far. But in naturally, your brain is executing all of them at once or not? So, since we are executing all at once, whose performance is more? There is nothing but what? Execution time is going to be less. Execution time less or more? Actually, multi-threading came into the IT world so many years back. And why multi-threading is so popular nowadays in the technologies? Because it provides concurrent access will be provided. All at once is provided. It will take what? Very much less execution time is provided. If you perform the operations one by one, how much time it will take? Lot of time or not? First executing, later second executing, third executing, like that. It will take lot of time. Finally, I'm going to conclude my sentences. Each operation is performed by what? Thread. Generally, operations are performed by what? Functions. So from now onwards, who will execute functions? Who will execute functions? Thread. So actually in the functions time only, I need to tell you, every function executed by the thread only, but you don't know the threading. Now it is the time to know about what? Threading. So tell me, what is the purpose of thread? In my Python program, I have 4 functions. All 4 functions I want to execute parallelly. How many threads I have to create? 4 threads I will create. I need to start 4 threads. 4 threads will execute time. 4 threads will execute at the same time. 4 functions at the same time. And I will get what? 4 different outputs I will get it. Are you able to follow me? So conclusion is, what is the purpose of creating a thread? What is the thread? What is the purpose of thread? Both of them. First, understand the terminology. What is the thread definition? Flow of control. What is the use of creating a thread? To perform certain operation, whose operation related logic written in the form of either functions or in the methods. Are you following me? Either in the functions or in the methods you will take it. So first tell me, what is the use of thread? To perform an operation whose logic written in the form of what? Functions. For example, you take me. What I am doing in the class, tell me now. I am explaining, I'm writing, and I'm thinking what to explain. I'm taking breath. I'm going to move the head, and I'm doing, and I'm drawing, and I'm thinking the order to explain. These many number of flows are there when I come to the class. Are you following me? So each thread is doing its own operation only. These kind of flows of control is created. A person is going on the bike. He is seeing on the road. He is changing the gears, and then he is up increasing the speed, and then he is sometimes he will walk. He will speak in the mobile also, and he will watch left side, right side, etc. Multi-threading is also one danger. More number of threads if we create leads to what? Deadlock situation. That's what I'm explaining. Deadlock situation also. You need to take care about deadlock situation also in the class. I will explain that. First of all, are you understanding the normal threading things? Now, when you go to the C programming, students, very, very careful point. In C programming, there is no concept of what? Multi-threading. In C++, there is no concept of what? Multi-threading. Direct library is not there. So in C++ program execution, there is a single flow of control only existing. There is no concept of what? Creating multiple flows of controls. Hence, C++ programming languages are what? Single threaded modeling languages. Spell out. Single threaded modeling languages. In that, how many threads are there? Only one thread is available. How my operations will be performing then? One by one they will perform. One after the other one after the other only they will execute. That will take what time? More amount of time. That will be called as what? Heavyweight application we can call. Heavyweight. Heavyweight application we can call. I think you are following me. Heavyweight application we can call. So finally my conclusion is very simple. As on today, single threaded modeling languages are not in the industry of internet world, are not in the field of AI world. They are using in system level applications, low level application development they are using, like C programming, you take it. They are using for designing the softwares. And in that softwares, they are using what? Multi-threading as a some other technology they are using it. So Python, you take it. Multi-threading. Python is totally written in which language? C language. Java, you take it. Also same thing. But these things are containing what? Separate language, separate system they developed in the Python language. So here, two types of applications we can develop. One is thread-based application, non-thread-based application. Non-thread-based applications examples are what? C, C++ example. They are containing how many threads? Single thread. Containing what providing which execution? Sequential execution. Takes what time to execute? More time. That is known as what? Heavyweight application. Takes more execution time. I'll show the program also. With the timing measurement, I will show you. Okay, now let us go to the next. And that is also known as single threaded modeling languages. With that, you write some programs. That programs are known as what? Process based applications we can call. What are that applications called? Process based applications we can call. That will take what? Containing how many threads? Single thread. Provides sequential execution. Takes more time. Heavyweight application we can call. So we can't use it in the present internet world. We can't use it in the present AI world. We can't use it in the robotics designing. In all those places, which languages we use? We use those languages which will provide inbuilt threading mechanism. Understand this point? So, coming to the point of it, even the operating systems which are available nowadays, all the operating systems are what? Multitasking operating systems only. There is no single tasking operating systems not available at this stage. So, next point I want to go for, I want to show you one diagram for you. One small diagram I want to show you. What is the next application development? Thread-based application development. In thread-based application development, what happens? How many threads possibility is there? Multiple threads. Thread-based application is multi-threading program only. Thread-based applications contains how many threads? Multiple threads. Single-threaded modeling language contains how many threads? Single thread. That is called process-based application. In thread-based applications contains how many threads? Multiple threads. Provides which execution? Concurrent execution. When multiple threads are there, multiple operations will be performed at the same time or not. Provides which execution? Concurrent execution. Takes what time? Less time. Because all at once performing is going to take very less time. Simple example, students. You are there. You want to do today 10 related operations you want to do. You are only one person. How you do 10 operations? One by one only, no? Correct or not? Another situation is what? You are the one and calling 10 friends. Why are you calling 10 friends? To do 10 different operations. Each friend is allotted to one operation. So how they will perform all at once, one by one? So that will take what time? Simple. When you are doing alone by yourself, it is called process based. When you are doing calling your friend and doing all the things at the same time is called what? Thread-based application. So thread-based applications are lightweight applications only. All our business apps, all our servers, all the databases are containing by default threading mechanism inbuilt. But when you go to product-based companies, they will look for this multi-threading. That's why I'm going to give you this multi-threading separately and in detail. Are you able to follow? So what is the difference between multi-threading and then thread-based application and then process-based? Single-threaded modeling languages you develops process-based. Multi-threading applications develop what? Thread-based applications. In process-based, how many threads are there? Single thread. Provides which execution? Sequential execution. Sequential means what? One by one. Takes what time to execute? More time. And it is considered as a heavyweight application. Heavyweight means more time to take to execute. One more is called what? Thread-based application. In thread-based applications, how many threads will be there? Possibility? Multiple. Depends on our application development. Okay, good. And it takes what time to execute? Less time. Provides which execution? Concurrent. Two execution, sequential, concurrent. Good. And how much time it takes? Less time. This is known as lightweight application we can call. Okay now. So C++ languages are developing which based applications? Very good. Process based. Java, Python, .NET and all modern languages develops which applications? Thread based applications. Can I move forward? Yes. Students, when you come to here also, one important thing I want to tell you students, come to Python. Come to Python only you pick. Come to Python. Very, very important I'm talking. Python. Execution environment I'm talking. Execution environment I'm going to talk. There I'm going to talk about two things here. One is called default default execution environment. Python default execution environment. Default execution environment. Very seriously point this is. Default execution environment. Programmatic execution environment. Programmatic execution environment. I'll show this diagram also. Students, this is the function called F1. This is a function called F2. This is a function called F3. This is a function called F4. Be careful, all of you. So I want to make you to execute the program. Who will execute the Python program? Very good. PVM. Nice. PVM. Do you know, students, the moment when you start executing the Python program, do you know PVM by default, first time I am saying in the class, by default, PVM initiates one flow of control. Initiates one flow of control. That flow of control is called what? Thread. That thread name is called main thread we can call. I will show you that. I'll print and I will show you. All this diagrammatic execution I will show in the class. The moment when PVM executes the program, beginning it initiates one thread. That thread name is main thread. How you can think of how you write the notes? How you write the notes? To write the notes, what is required? Pen. So you are writing with pen. You are writing with penna. You are writing refill in the penna. Who is writing actual notes? Refill which is present in the pen. What is that structure of that pen which is containing the refill? Pen is something like a PVM. Inside of that, the refill is present. That is called what? P main thread. Like that, you can imagine for understanding this content. What is the PVM like your pen? But when you start writing, what is actual working there? Refill. Something like that. When program execution starts, the PVM initiates one thread. The thread name is called main thread. The moment when program execution started, students very carefully listen it. First it will go to the function F1. After that it will go to the function F2. After that it will go to the function F3. After that it will go to the function F4. This is going to be known as what? Sequential execution. In default Python environment, how many threads will present? One thread will present by default, whose purpose is to execute my functions which are written in the program. And this is comes under which type of execution? Sequential execution we can call. And that takes what time? More time to execute my programming. This is comes under default execution environment of which language? Python language. Come to programmatic execution environment. See students, there is a F1, there is a F2, there is a F3, there is a F4, there is a F3 and then there is a F4. How many number of functions are available with me? Here also, PVM is going to start the execution. PVM initiates what here? Come on, main thread, already terminology introduced, main thread. Do you know? I created I written a special program in my Python program. We created separately four objects. Those four objects are called objects of thread class. Thread. What is the thread? It is a class. Present in which module? Threading module. Every module contains global variables, function names, class names. What is the object I am using today? Thread object I am using. I am creating an object T1. I am creating an object T2. I am creating an object T3. I am creating an object T4. What are T1, T2, T3, T4 are called? Objects we can call. These objects are created by using what? Thread class. That is executed by main thread. How do you create an object of list? L1 is equal to what? List. Then how do you create an object of thread class? T1 is equal to thread of. Thread of. Of course, I'll tell you the syntax for you. What is the thread capital T here? Class name, which is present into which model? Threading module. So module is a collection of global variables, function names and class names. This class name is present into which module, students? Threading module. So ultimately tell my conclusion here. Thread is a class which I am creating one flow of control. Why you created this flow of control? To execute the statements which are present into F1. Why T2 is created? To execute the statements present into F2. Why T3 created? To execute the statements present in F3. Why to create this T4? To execute the statements present in T4. And all these threads which you created are called subthreads we can call. Spell out ma? Subthreads. So what is the need of subthreads here? The need of subthreads is to execute all the functions which you programmed in your program. All of them will execute simultaneously. Whose execution status is monitored by which thread? Main thread. Observe, once again I will repeat, in the default Python programming execution environment, there is a single thread is present by default. What is its name? Main thread. How many threads are there? Single thread. How many functions I am having? Four. So main program statements plus my functional area executed by whom only? Main thread only. Definitely it will take what time? More time. Like one person, 10 works are there. You are the one need to do all 10 works by yourself only. Will take what time? More time, definitely. Now I will come to what? Another environment, which is the programmatic execution environment. What is happening there? I am going to create how many threads? Four threads I am creating programmatically. Sir, why are you creating four threads? To improve the performance of my application. Rather than doing these things one by one, I want to execute all at once. So you are calling four friends. You are creating four subthreads. Because of creating subthreads, what advantage I am getting? Rather than taking, for example, this is taking 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. Main thread is taking how much time? 20 minutes is taking. But here, how many minutes will take? Within 5 minutes, I can do it. So all our real-time tasks will contain, all our existing technologies and everything contains multi-threading only available now. In earlier days, if you want to do a reservation, you need to go to the concerned unit. As on today, you can do the reservation anywhere else in your mobile also now because their apps are created. So to that app is used by what? Multiple people are using it. When you make a request from any remote, it will go to the servers which is already present or not. Best example, IRCTC project, you take it. Railway reservation, you take it. You take it as a bus reservations also, you take it. All of them are used by what? That apps are there with a very required persons, right or not? So that are the best examples of what all business apps are going to be comes under thread-based applications only. How many threads I created? Four threads I created. Four threads I started. Four threads will complete the task in how many minutes? 5 minutes. So 5 minutes is less. 20 minutes is less. So definitely it is known as what? Lightweight application we can call. So what is this main thread is doing here? It is monitoring the execution status of these threads. Monitoring means what? Once it is executing, let it execute. Once it is getting completed, whose object collected by what? The main thread hand over to the garbage collector. Garbage collection concept also I will tell you. Nothing to worry. After this, I will explain. So the multi-threading concept, the main thread concept is doing what? In this case, it will execute only main program entries. Functions are executed by whom? Subthreads. So in this programmatic execution environment, how many threads are there? Two types of threads are there. One main thread is available. Next is called what? One or more subthreads are available. What is the role of subthreads? Subthreads will execute the programs which are containing the functions. In other words, subthreads will execute the functions which are written inside the program. And main thread will execute what? The statements which are present in the main program only. Once the functions are there, definitely function calling area will be there or not. But function calling area is executed by which thread? Main thread. Who will execute the functions? Subthreads. When you don't have any subthreads here, default environment, who will execute the main program statements and the definitions? Main thread only will execute. I will show you that execution time also for you. With the measuring the execution time, I will show you. First, the concept should be clear now. So in the Python execution environment, how many things I have to consider? Two things. One is the default environment, one is the programmatic environment. In default environment of Python, how many threads are there? Single thread. What is its name? Main thread. I'll show that programmatically. They will ask you this question. By default, how many threads are there in Python? Single thread will be there. Whose name is what? Main thread. Come to what next? Programmatic environment. How many threads will be there? Two threads. One is main thread. Second is one or more subthreads. What is the role of subthreads? Executes the operations whose logic written in the form of functions. Understand? What is the main thread? Main thread will monitor the execution status of what? Main thread. Subthreads, sorry. And executes the main program entries. That is the role of what? Main thread. I will show you in the class. Are you able to follow this now? Coming to the point back, now I'm going to give you a small explanation here. Try to follow. It's a dead easy, simple for you. And once you observe it, a small process-based environment. What I explained so far, I'm just going to show you. Process-based applications here. Single C++ execution environment. How many threads are there? These are all called what? C language function definitions, I said. Definitions these are. Definition means definitely includes the function calls or not. Right, single thread will go to the function called sum. It will go to the definition called sum, execute it, come back to the sub, go to the sub definition, come back to the main program, multiplication call, go to the definition, div call, coming to this. How it is executing? How it is executing? Sequentially. How many threads are there? Takes what time? More time. Treated as what? Heavyweight components. All C++ programs are comes under what? Process based. Understood? Online students, come on. Response is important. Your response is important. Respond, student. Go to the thread-based application, students. Thread-based applications I'm going to take up. Tell me, students, start here also. Default Python environment, Python execution environment, PVM initiates thread. What is it is known as? In our program, sum definition, sub definition, multiplication definition, div definition. These are all called what? Main program entries. What is my main thread is doing, students? Go to the sum, execute it, come to sub. Here also, one by one, which is getting executed. Main thread will do what execution here? Sequential execution. Actually, so simple. Next, come to what next? Programmatic environment. How many threads? Main thread, sub thread gives That's all. Come on here. PVM initiates what thread? That internally makes it to create our own programmed things. Subthread 1 alerts for some execution, subthread 2 alerts for sub execution, subthread 3 alerts for multiplication, subthread 4 alerts for division. I will dispatch all the subthreads. So all of them will execute parallelly, which will give you what time? Less time. So main thread will execute the statements written in the main program and monitors the execution status of what? Subthread. Come down, subthreads will do what, mom? Executes the functions or methods which are present in the program. So tell me from now onwards, every function which you have written in the class executed by Dash. Come on, executed by Usha. Good. Thread. Every function written in the program executed by what? Thread. That I will show you today. Understand, huh? Good. Coming to one concept also I covered here. One small concept I want to say. Here I'm going to take it types of applications. Just for a minute, whatever you have written, I'm giving in the form of notes. Purpose of multi-threading is that to provide a concurrent execution or simultaneous execution or parallel processing. That is executing all at once. That is the main purpose of each one, multi-threading. In OS level, it is called multitasking. Simple, students. In industry, we have two types of applications or languages. They are process-based applications, thread-based applications. First one, process-based applications. Process-based applications contains single thread. Process-based applications provides sequential execution, that is called one by one execution. It takes what? More time, more execution time. It will be considered as a heavyweight component. Heavyweight is decided based on what? More execution time. If you take long time to complete, you are called heavyweight component. If you take less time to complete, you are going to be lightweight component, we can call. Are you following me? Thread-based application you come. What is the thread-based application? Thread-based applications contains by default single thread. Already you know single thread. And programmatically we can create how many threads? Multiple threads. Thread-based applications provides both the sequential execution and in which case it is going to provide sequential execution single thread at time. That is the default time it will provide a sequential execution only now. In programmatic conditions, it will provide which execution? That's all. It takes what time to take? Less execution time, and they are going to be called as what? Lightweight components. Clear? Good. Go to the next one. Go to the next one. I will go for what? Introduction to thread-based applications. Because from these two questions very regularly coming. What is the definition of thread? Purpose of creating a thread? How do you create a thread? How do you dispatch the thread? This is a regularly asking question. They're very simple. Come on. What is the use of thread-based application? The purpose of multi-threading is that to provide a concurrent or sequential execution or simultaneous execution parallelly. Concurrent execution is nothing but executing all at once. That is nothing but what are all the functions are present in the same program. We want to execute all at once. That is the meaning of concurrent execution. The advantage of concurrent execution is that to get less execution time. If a Python program contains multiple threads, then it is called multi-threading program. Understand this? Good. Coming to the next point of it, very simple. Definition of thread. A flow of control is called thread. The purpose of thread is that to perform certain operation whose logic developed in functions or methods concurrently. Is it understandable? So who will execute methods or functions from now onwards? Threads only. Are you following me? So if I have 10 operations, how many threads I will create? 10 threads I will create. Creating a thread in Python is easy or difficult now? Dead easy. How do you create a thread? Creating thread is nothing but creating an object of thread class. And you are already know how to create an object of thing. From the beginning of our sessions, we know int class object, float class object, from here to what class object? Head class object, student class object, employee class object. Any object you know how to create it. Good. Coming to the point of it, by default, here I am writing definition of thread is completed. Now, by default, every Python program contains single thread and whose name is main thread, and it provides sequential execution. Next, programmatically, I'm talking about what? Programmatic environment. This is called which environment? Default environment. Default environment. Programmatically, in a Python program, we can create multiple sub or child threads whose purpose is that to execute operations whose logic written in functions or methods concurrently. Hence, programmatically, a Python program contains two types of threads. They are main thread, subthread. It may be one subthread, maybe more than one subthread. Main thread, see students, main thread is created, initiated by PVM. When program execution starts, the role of main thread is to execute main program statements and monitor the execution status of subthreads. If subthreads executes, if subthreads not executing, what will happen? Main thread only will execute all the statements. If you want, I will write it. If subthreads does not exist, if subthreads subthreads does not exist, does not exist in the Python program, does not exist in the Python program, Python program, then when main thread itself, main thread only will execute what statements? Main program statements, main program statements, and what? And what? Functions. Function or functions. Did you understand? This is comes under sequential part. This is comes under sequential part. This is comes under what? Concurrent execution part. If subthread always executes, the subthread or child threads always executes operations whose logic written in functions or methods concurrently. So what is the role of subthread also I said? This is the role of subthread I said. From now onwards, any type of application if you write it, that will execute. By default, it will execute one by one. That is called sequential. We are going to execute all at once. We are going for what? Multi-threading. Are you able to follow now? Students in the online. Now I'm going to enter into the further. Now I'm going to show you the example here. So let us show the execution part here. And I will go for first one small execution. What is the default thread name? Come on, main thread. Now I'm going to show you the simple example first. Python coding I'm going to enter. Very simple. Already you oops is covered. So many modules discussed. And now I'm going to say program for showing, program for showing which thread, default thread. Actually, the dead easy for you. Certain things are dead easy. Need not to feel difficult because we have a lot of journey in the coding. Now I'm going to take up t name is equal to t name is equal to. You already know one thing. Anything you want to do in Python, you need a function. Every function belongs to what? Module. మీకు అది తెలియకపోతే ఇంకా వేస్ట్ మీరంతా. Every function belongs to what? Module. Anything you want to do it, you need a function. That function belongs to what? Beginning only said. Learning Python is nothing but learning about modules. There is a function name called current underscore thread. There is a function name called current underscore thread. This current underscore thread is present into the module called what? Threading. Threading module it is present. Now I will write it what? Import threading. Import threading. Are you following? Dot name I am writing. Dot name. And it is very dead easy. Dot name I am going to write it. Dot name. What is the dot name? Already you know df dot shape, df dot endim, df dot index, df dot columns in pandas, numpy, so much of discussion. A is equal to 2 plus 3j, a dot real, a dot imag, what they are all called? Attributes. This attribute I am using to get the name of the thread. Certain things now, students, you have to understand this name. You don't worry, I will explain anyhow. What is current thread? I will explain. But now only you can understand. Current thread is a function which is used to get the by default which thread is executing. I will print it here. Default thread name. Default thread name. How simple it is. Comma t name I am writing. T name I am writing. Just execute here. What is this now? Default thread. Default thread. Example.py. So try to save it. Go to this place. In E colon, I'll go to 7 a.m. threads. Threads I'm going to take up. In this place, I'm going to discuss. Easy, not a difficult. There is no hurry at all. I will explain current thread. Now only you can understand what is the current thread? Function name. What is the use of function? To perform an operation. Which operation it will perform? It will give you name of the main thread. Which thread is currently executing at that point of time? That thread name will be given by what? Current thread. And I'm getting its name. Some other information will be coming. That information also I will print and I'll show you. So now I'm going to enter into the command prompt. Go to the command prompt. or some company name you will say or not? Something like that. Object name is different, whose name is different. So T1 is called what? Object, whose name is what? Thread 1. Here next, T2 is called what? Object name, whose name is called what? Thread 2. And don't think T1 I am writing, 1 is coming, 2 is writing, 3 is coming. Not like that. X, Y, Z also contains what? Thread 1, thread 2. Finally, what is this now? T3 object contains what here? What is thread 1, thread 2, thread 3? Thread 1, thread 2, thread 3 are called thread names. T1, T2, T3 are called object names. మీరు దీనికి ఇది దీనికి అది చెప్తే మీ ఇష్టం. What is T1, T2, T3? Object names. What is thread 1, thread 2, thread 3 are called thread names. Default thread names given to the subthreads. Okay, subthreads are L2, L3, L3. What is L1, L2, L3? Whose names? Thread 1, thread 2, thread 3. K1, KVR, KVR. What is the KVR are called? Object names. Whose name? Thread 1, thread 2, thread 3. This is waste of time. This is a waste of time. Simply T1 dot start, T2 dot start, and T3 dot start. Now I will write what? L1 dot start, L2 dot start, and then L3 dot start. These are all called what? Dispatching my subthread. Once you dispatched it, what L1 will do? L1 is a object of thread targeted to whom? It will go to welcome. All L1, L2, L3 will go to where? Hello, hi, and etc. Here I will write, students, that you don't worry. I'm writing today that I will explain tomorrow. I will explain tomorrow. Tomorrow I will explain. Right now, don't worry. Today, don't worry, I'm writing. Even if I explain today, you cannot catch me. That you don't worry. Are you following me now? Shall I execute this now? Did you understand these two parts? Did you understand these parts? So you are creating subthread and you are dispatching the subthreads also. Perfect. Execute now. Subthread flow execution. Execute it now. Go to this place now. Here I'm going to write it. So 7 a.m. here. Go to this place. Here I'm writing threads here. Threads I'm going to write it. Placing here. Are you following me? Execute. Be careful, students. PY. I'm writing PY subthread flow. See, students, program execution started by whom? Welcome function executed by whom? Thread 1. Targeted to whom? So hello function executed by whom? Thread 2. Hi function executed by whom? Thread 3. If you want, you can give your own names also. If you want, you can give your own names also. Sir, I don't want this thread 1, sir. I want L1 dot name is equal to Laksha, and L2 dot name is equal to L2 dot name is equal to dot name is equal to KVR. L2 dot L3 dot L3 L3 dot name is equal to Ranjan Patra. Ranjan Patra. Who is this Laksha, KVR, Ranjana recalled here? Programmer defined subthread names. పలకండి ఒకసారి. Subthread names కాదు. Programmer defined subthread names. What is thread 1, thread 2, thread 3? Default thread names to the subthreads. Following? Right. Execute. Execute now. I'm going to get the answer. See that welcome function executed by Laksha, hello function executed by KVR, hi function executed by Ranjan. Are you following me? Main program execution started and executed by whom? So this is clearly concluded that main program entries executed by main thread. Subprograms that are called functions executed by whom? Subthreads. In the case of what? Multiple threads are there. In the case of single thread is there. Everything executed by whom only? Main thread only. Clear or not clear? Sir, execution time, sir, I want execution time. I want to show the execution time. For that, one more example I want to tell you. Follow me? Is it clear? Huh? Right. Online students, Laksha, next Ranjan Patra, Pratik Gupta. Pratik Gupta is saying that, sir, I'm in traveling, sir. Diwali, sir. Holiday or not, sir, it is asking. When we come to one stage, holidays need not to bother. You have to have working mentality or the learning mentality must be there. So come to the point of it. Pratik, right. So coming to the point of it, now I'm going to introduce execution time. When you come to one stage, you should not consider all those things. Like a school days, if you ask school students, sir, holiday na, sir, half day school, sir, morning, sir, evening, sir. Not like that. You should know, you should have some general, what we call generalization is important. Okay, holidays will come and go. First, we need to complete our course like that. You need to think. So, shall I go to the next step? Now I will go to the default thread flow. Once again, I am saying here. Let me go to the execution time. I am going to talk about it. Go to this place. So time is getting away, but I will show you quickly this program. You will understand program for demonstrating execution time of execution time of execution time of what? Default thread, default thread, default thread, execution time, execution time, execution time dot py. Students, here we follow. Here I am writing. Of course, I will write this. Come to the point of it. Here I am writing one function. D of square. LST. I am going to get it. I am going to give you. Here I am writing thread name. I am writing here square of that number is equal to that number dot format of n comma or I will write one thing for value in LST. I'm doing square logic purpose. I'm using this. So here I'm writing threading dot current thread dot current thread underscore dot what name comma value star star 2. Are you following me? In this place, what is printed? Thread name. What is this value? Here it is printed. Value star star 2 printed for this. Clear? And I'm writing this value I want to view after each and every second, like our digital watch, how it runs for every second, like a traffic signal number, how it will change for every 1 second, one number will come. There is a time module is there. Time module. There is one kind of function called what? Sleep. Time dot sleep. Time dot sleep. What is the meaning of sleep? Some pausing between the two entries. Square of 2, 4. To give square of 3, some gap of time between that for easy understanding by you. So one, what is the time? Module. What is the sleep? Making the thread to sleep for 1 second. Sleep keeping the thread other operator 1 second. After 1 second is over, you are going to execute the other thing. So time dot sleep. I will write what here? Time. Are you following me? Right, done. After that, one more function I will define, students. What is another sorry. What is another function I am taking? Cube. I am taking cube. Online students. Cube I am taking. Of LST I am writing. Here I am writing cube of. Cube of. What is this now? Star star 3. Online students, I hope you are following me. Here I am going to write it. LST is equal to some value 12 comma 4 comma 5 comma minus 3 comma 13 comma 19 comma 8 comma something like 15 comma something like something like 2 comma 11 comma like that I am having. You pass it to whom? Square of. Square of. You are passing to square of. What is that? LST. Next, what are you doing? Cube of. Cube of. You are passing to what? Cube of. What is this? LST. LST. So here I am going to say between these two, I want to say like this. And students, when it is executing, I want to measure the execution time. How can you measure my execution time of my class? I'll come to class at 7:20. I will take up to 7:40, 8:45, 8:40, 8:42, 8:50. Like that, I will go for depends on the timing or not. Record the beginning time. Beginning time is equal to PT is equal to time module contains one function name called time dot time off, which will record the time in the milliseconds of my laptop. Current system time will be recorded. The moment when you start the program, in milliseconds, BT will be containing. Because program will not take hours together. In milliseconds and nanoseconds only it will do. It will also do what now? Program execution ended. This is going to be called what? ET, ending time. And in middle of it, my program execution going on or not? Here I will write it. Print of, what is this now? Execution time. Total execution time. Total execution time. Total execution time of what? Default thread is equal to comma what? ET minus BT. Do you understand ET minus BT? Ending time minus beginning time. Beginning time 7:20, ending time 8:48. Is it the difference is called my total class time taking or not? Following or not following? Okay. Execute this now. Execute this now. Online students, did you understand this flow, students? Did you understand this execution? Simple, normal programming only. Today I'm just using time dot time of, beginning time and ending time. I'm making to sleep for few seconds. Following or not following? Right. Execute, students. Follow me, students. Execute. Now here, see, students. Done. See that square. Which thread is doing now? Main thread only doing. What is doing? Squaring it is doing. Once squaring is completed, what will happen next? Cubing is doing now. Who is executing that? Main thread only doing. What the total time is coming out, you see? Total time taken by this program for completing is called what? 20.014 so and so milliseconds of time is taken by what? Single thread to do different operations. One thread doing two operations. This is a time. Okay, no. Understood. This is which execution? Sequential execution. One by one executing. Sequential execution. Clear? Good. Go to the same program. I will write it with multiple threads I am creating. How simple it is. I'm going to create